Have you experienced a serious psychological trauma? Maybe something happened recently or many years ago. You feel very confused, overwhelmed and scared of your feelings and emotions, and you're not sure how to deal with them. What can you do to improve your life? You may wonder what is psychotrauma, what is post-traumatic stress disorder, why some people develop PTSD and others don't. I would like to share with you some techniques you can try that will help your anxiety and your ability to overcome all your fears. If you're first time on my channel, my name is Karina and welcome to UniverseSoul, where we discuss psychology and complex human nature. I'm very happy to see you here. Psychotrauma is not only a psychological wound, but also physical. It's a reaction of your nervous system to some frightening and very unpleasant event in which you suddenly lost all control. It can be a single event, for example, a plane crash, or long-term series of events like childhood abuse. Another difference in types of trauma is whether it was caused by humans or nature forces. So human-caused trauma would be wars, kidnappings, rape, domestic violence, theft, terrorism, train disasters, and nature-caused trauma would be earthquakes, tsunamis, volcano eruptions, and so on. It's important to differentiate because levels of self-control and blame can vary between these types. Often people feel like nature-caused trauma is destiny, but those caused by humans is their fault somehow, that they ended up in this situation. But I will discuss this in more detail later in this video. When you experience heightened anxiety, you feel it through sensations in your body. This is because fear provokes body's fight or flight or freeze response. If you're driving and suddenly a lorry jumps out in front of you, information from your eyes and ears immediately travels to amygdala, where all this information is processed. The amygdala also is responsible for your emotions, and it sends signals of distress to the hypothalamus. As a result, adrenaline is released into your bloodstream and you react either by choosing to fight, so basically you drive towards this truck hoping that it will turn, or you run, you are trying to turn away from it and escape, or you just freeze hoping that it will somehow magically just pass you by. All this, of course, happens in a split second. Well, let's hope that you managed to get away and you didn't crash. When the danger has passed, your body begins to calm down. But in some cases, when you subjectively assess the situation as very traumatic, even if there's no visible physical damage, no one really touched you. For example, you witnessed a terrible car crash, or as a child you witnessed your dad hitting your mom, then you may become trapped in your anxiety. Your body just continues to produce stress hormones, as if helping you to be more prepared next time crisis strikes. These body processes exist to help us survive, but unfortunately they can also be completely useless and prevent you from objectively assessing reality after the danger has passed. You may develop symptoms of PTSD, which are extreme alertness, irritability, anger outbursts, sleep disturbances, flashbacks, active avoidance of reminders of the trauma, deep distrust towards other people, believing that the world is not a safe place, detachment, feeling like nobody understands you, feeling sad or guilty. And this might lead to further problems like other physical illnesses, relationships problems, sexual dysfunction, drug use, violence, or even suicidal thoughts. Most people deal with many negative and difficult situations in their lives, but if they have close family, friends, or other support networks, the mental health is quite stable, then usually people quite successfully overcome adversity and its consequences. More positive experiences, they can also counteract and balance hard times, meaning people's sense of safety remains relatively intact even in the light of some negativity. For example, if a child fell from a high tree branch and broke his arm, this would certainly trigger fight or flight response, but if loving parents immediately soothe him, give him a hug, wipe away his tears, and take him to a hospital, they will spend the night with him there, the chances that it will develop into post-traumatic stress disorder are very small. But if a child is constantly experiencing abusive situations and he doesn't have the opportunity to really calm down, understand his experience, get support, then he's constantly on alert, waiting for a blow from the loved ones. So, of course, his body and psyche are constantly at the limit, with all the stress hormones non-stop running through his system. In these cases, especially when you are alone in your adversity, all your subsequent experiences are overshadowed by your trauma, and unresolved psychological trauma can have a huge impact on your life. You might feel stuck in your trauma or chased by your horrible memories and flashbacks, being unable to let go and move on, or becoming afraid that the situation might repeat itself. And you interpret everything through the lens of your traumatic experience. Panic, shame and depression become your everyday reality, and everything feels heavy in your body, in your mind, in your attempt to continue your life, and questions arise. Why me? What did I do to deserve this? Am I cursed? When trauma occurs, to protect you, your brain temporarily suspends the memory processing system, and the experience is not stored as in ordinary memories. Instead of a complete memory playing in your head like a movie reel, traumatic experiences are stored in fragments, and these fragments are left unprocessed and may suddenly manifest as nightmares, painful memories, and general anxiety. When trauma is very complex, you may develop dissociative reactions, meaning you feel disconnected from the reality or people around you. Dissociation is your psychological defense tool. It's not a bad thing. It's here to protect you against unbearable emotions and help you survive under the influence of serious stressors, as if you are saying to yourself, no, this is not happening to me right now. But this becomes a problem when the environment is no longer threatening or intimidating, but you still act and live your life as if it's a danger. But let's discuss more why some people develop PTSD and others don't. It depends on how you look at your experience. Some people, in fact, they feel empowered, not disempowered by the negative event. If they survived a difficult situation, some see themselves as lucky or being a hero, especially if they saved other people as well. For example, if a house was on fire and they've managed to direct others to exits, in this moment, some people might feel special and very intelligent. If on top they receive positive media attention, it only makes them stronger. So, supportive environment after the event is very important, not only to recover but have this opportunity to make things better, advocate for more vulnerable people. This person might even take things further, like going to court and influencing future requirements for fire safety in buildings. For people who are highly resilient, sometimes even a severe traumatic stressor isn't enough to develop PTSD, and resilience really depends on the meaning you attach to the events. For example, you don't even have to be in this fire, but you can lose relatives in it, and this would be severely traumatic for you even though you weren't directly involved. So what is traumatic and what is not is highly subjective. There is no specific event or specific dimension how implicated people were, after which you can confidently predict that they will surely develop PTSD or other stress-related disorders. Having said that, you are more likely to develop PTSD after trauma if you experienced early separation from parents or your family life was unstable in your childhood. There is a family history of PTSD and anxiety disorders. You work in a high-risk job, maybe you're a refugee, you fear death, you live your life in a frame of mind that you're a victim, and generally your support system networks are very weak. The body is our key to mind and soul. First, you must calm your body's reaction to threats, switching them from alertness and vigilance to relaxation and peace. Only then you can begin recognition of persistent negative mental and emotional aspects of your trauma. Until you feel connected to your body again, your coping strategies may be very limited. From my experience, this usually manifests in substance use or dysfunctional romantic relationships, or lack of them altogether, inability to sustain relationships and friendships. If you don't integrate your traumatic experience, you'll struggle making right decisions that you will benefit from. So what can you do to overcome your trauma? How can you address your PTSD symptoms? Where can you begin? You can't just simply delete your trauma. I know you want to. But over time, your disturbing emotions and bodily sensations associated with your trauma can become a part of your life, not just your main focus. And step by step, you begin building your life around your past experience, not inside it. And your long-term goals would be reducing the negative impact of trauma on your social and family life, no longer experiencing intrusive event recollections, avoidance of triggers, intense arousal, and disinterest in activities and relationships. How long will it take you to get to this place? Of course, depends on the nature of the event, how long it lasted, how you dealt with it then, on your inner strength and character, also on how people around you reacted to it, or maybe it's your secret you haven't told anyone yet. The therapy approach should be individually tailored exactly to your specific needs and based on a holistic approach to your trauma, from working with your sensory inputs, triggers, flashbacks, establishing boundaries with people around you if needed, to diving deep into the meaning of your life and why you're here to begin with. This means that a psychologist or therapist doesn't see you as someone who is mentally ill, but is interested in your overall human potential, which is undoubtedly greater than any difficulties and problems you have experienced. Seeing a psychologist is the best way to recover from PTSD, but I understand that not everyone has this opportunity. So I want to share with you some strategies you can implement yourself. It's better than doing nothing and drowning in booze, for example. An important first step is to realize that all your fears and physical sensations have a name. It's anxiety. And because PTSD can include frightening symptoms such as nightmares, broken memories, and dissociations, you may think that you're going crazy. But the problem is not that you're crazy or mad, but that you're experiencing anxiety as an aftermath of a traumatic event, and you need to learn to recognize it and cope with your anxiety. You might ask, however, why would you bring even more awareness to your PTSD symptoms? It's because you need to understand which symptoms you struggle with most, which ones occur more often, and what types of situations trigger you. The better you feel the waves of your anxiety, the better you can ride them. Breathing exercises are a quick and useful tool that you can use to lessen some of your anxious feelings. Try breathing from your belly, like babies do when they sleep. This will help you relax and become more mindful. You can also start using your body by doing yoga, dancing, or taking martial arts classes. It's not exactly a direct way to target your trauma specifically, but it will help you shake off the stress and stuck energy. Grounding is a very useful technique if you lose touch with the present moment. When you are grounded, you are not just floating by on a cloud of your negative thoughts, but you are able to snap back into present reality. For example, you can describe the objects around you. You can touch them, smell them. Hold an ice cube, try to describe the sensation, or listen to music and identify all instruments used in the song. What is the meaning of lyrics? How did the artist come up with an idea to write it? Or next time you're cooking, take it slowly, observe the ingredients first. What color are they? Are these fruit or sea products? Which spices will you use? Which one is your favorite? Why? Are you cooking a hearty meal, or is it a light dessert, sweet and soft in the middle? In this moment, the key message is that no one is attacking you or threatening your life. You're safe, and eventually you calm down. When doing grounding exercises, keep your eyes open so that you can focus on what is around you right now, not what happened in your past or might happen in the future. It's also a good idea to use your voice, describing what you are seeing and doing. Your voice is a very powerful healing tool. The ability to express your feelings, shout them out, sing them, or just make some incomprehensible sounds, all this helps you cleanse. I have seen many times how body work, movement, and use of voice open a portal for trauma to leave the body, and people start crying, especially those who never cry because they feel free and liberated. As with any other skill, it's important to practice grounding, and it will be very helpful if you do this not only when you feel very anxious, but also when you're already relaxed, so you associate grounding with being at peace. If you're still feeling anxious or depressed, I suggest you live through these feelings, embrace them, let them be, let them tell you what they want to tell you, don't judge them. The more aware you are of your inner world, the less intense everything will be, especially with time. Sometimes people with PTSD, they stop doing things they used to enjoy and isolate themselves from family, friends, colleagues, and other people. Although it may be difficult, try to return to your normal routine. This includes your job, hanging out with your friends, doing a hobby you enjoy. If it's way too hard for you, start with a brief, pleasant activity. It can be a lunch with your friend or a little hike with your brother or sister, someone you love and trust. It's also important that you continue to take care of yourself. Many people with psychological problems stop paying attention to what they eat, when they sleep, when they take a shower, and unfortunately this approach can exacerbate your anxiety and your negative outlook on things. So please, carry on looking after yourself and remember, you are your best friend. If you avoid trauma-related situations, for example, you got lost at sea for a few days and now you avoid going to the beach or attempting sailing again, or your fiancé had sex with someone else on your wedding day and you walked in on them, and now you avoid any wedding-related agenda, well, don't. The best way to cope with your triggers and fears is to actually face them. If you clearly believe that the world is dangerous and has nothing interesting to offer, your brain will look for confirmation of this, and believe me, it will find it. This is a mind trap in which you can get very confused very quickly. But the stronger you become, the clearer you see your life as a whole, the less will be the impact of the negative event on you. So continue sailing, and don't be afraid to look at wedding magazines or attend your friends' weddings. Often people I work with, they think that they somehow personally responsible for what happens, that they put themselves in that situation, they weren't careful enough. This happens a lot with people who survived rape, for example. Not only with women, when they get blamed for wearing a provocative dress or getting too drunk, but with men too, that they didn't fight enough, they were too weak, not masculine enough. Considering yourself guilty is a rabbit hole that leads to severe depression and shame, and such thoughts are a mental distortion. We can't predict future 100%. There'll always be turns we didn't anticipate. No one has the right to attack you, rip your clothes off and sexually assault you, even if you are way too tipsy and are sleeping naked at a party. When rape occurs, this is not your weakness, but the weakness of the person who attacked you. Your body belongs to you only, and even if you are married or are in relationships, this still doesn't automatically give your partner the right to demand sex or push themselves on you just because they're in the mood. They still must ask you, or at least read your flirting signals very accurately. Try building positive activities in your life. Shift your mindset to phrases such as, "Today I enjoyed," "I felt happy when," or "I felt peaceful because," or "I felt confident when." It's good to keep a diary to notice any progress. I'm not saying that you will have to do this for the rest of your life, but at least while you're working through your trauma. Recovering from PTSD is a very difficult thing to do, so remember to praise yourself and give yourself credit for accomplishing major stumbling blocks. If you can work with a psychologist and receive feedback, great. Use this opportunity. There's nothing wrong with you receiving psychotherapy. It doesn't mean that you're crazy. Don't allow society to stigmatize you. On the contrary, asking for professional help is an indicator of your strength and your desire to live a better life. Thank you for joining me today. Please like this video, feel free to share or comment below, and subscribe to my channel if you wish to learn more about psychology, human mind, relationships, and much more. You might discover yourself from a new perspective, or other people's motivations will become clearer to you. Maybe you're striving for a sense of belonging and a warm, supportive community. Then this channel is for you. For now, I wish you a fantastic day. Take care of yourself. Bye.